Ever, to coin a phrase, of course, chums, it's never as simple as it appears with Meghan Markle and those people that she's literally left behind. And there are now plenty. It doesn't matter what she puts on that mood board. You could fill 10 mood boards with the people that some people might suggest, of course, that she's disregarded along the way in her desperate climb for fame, fortune and recognition, including the most powerful, some people might say, literally that could have been very helpful to her. If you recall this man, Edward Enninful, right, well, he's the former editor of the Condé Nast publication Vogue magazine. And many people know that, yes, the bottom line is they fell out spectacularly. But what you don't know is this. As ever, let me explain. Morning, chums, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for your time today. And as ever, thank you for supporting me in all those videos. I'm glad you like the extended version of course, the Hollywood's Darkest Secrets. The idea of that really, if you enjoy it, do let me know because I will make more for you. But, meeting the people, some of the stories, the secrets that they tell you behind the scenes are fascinating. And it's all very well people saying, oh, well, yes, they're not there all the time. But they know these people. They were there. They worked in the industry. And they got to know these people incredibly well. So in my mind, I sort of think, well, at least they give you a different perspective of the story that, say, somebody's written in a book or, you know what I mean? There's always another version of events. It's a little bit like this. Cast your mind back to the forces of change or changes of nature or whatever. Meghan Markle's big sort of thing for Vogue magazine, the very first person to give him the honour of literally being a guest editor. Meghan Markle literally screws every single opportunity up. If you were her manager or agent, you must just be thinking, what left? Where can it? And I've worked, as I said, with many people like this. And the bottom line is, in the end, you have to tell them there is no more. People don't want to work with you. You've, run out of every possible opportunity. And of course, it's never their fault. They blame you. It's your fault why they can't get work. Now, you might say, well, Edward Enninful, as I said, not exactly the most glittering successful editors, but nonetheless, this was something of a coup. And he and Meghan were besties, bonding over copious amounts of mint tea and the little playful video that they put out and the forces of change and all of that. And do you remember the box, right? This always made me laugh. The box in the centre. And apparently this was for you as a person, because this was going to be you that now could represent that. You know what I'm saying? Very strange, wasn't it, when you think? As a lot of people pointed out, one of the people that she didn't include, Meghan, which she should have done, was, of course, the late Queen, Queen Elizabeth II. And as I also pointed out, Her Majesty was slightly, shall we say, not upset, not angry as such, but really just kind of baffled, because without that family, she would never have been given the opportunity. Harry refused to step in. William had a go and basically said this is preposterous. Meghan, though, stuck to her guns. But behind the scenes, this happened. You see, as Meghan decided to guest edit, which is a farce in itself, really, you're just using the name. She came in, looked at a few pages. Yep, great, lovely, yeah. Is it about me? Wonderful, that's great, yeah. Now, apparently this was one of the fastest selling issues, yes, of that period, not of the all-time greats of the Vogue magazines. But according to a source, you see, Edward Enninful, who is as very much a respected royalist, good friends, of course, with His Majesty the King, very respectful of Queen Elizabeth, did urge Meghan to have a rethink about casting Queen Elizabeth in this particular issue. And whatever you've read, this was the main bone of contention. They fell out because of that. Not about, what she wanted and the typeface and the size of the... No. It was that because he knew, as did the upper echelons of Condé Nast magazine, that this was not just a rudeness streak, but a faux pas of the highest level. But Meghan, you see, at this point had already fallen out with Her Majesty the Queen, had a few spats regarding staff and disagreements and stuff like that. And there was no way that she was just going to capitulate and say, okay, I'll put her in. Of course, like everything with Meghan, allegedly, suddenly it wasn't her decision. A little bit like, of course, her niece that suddenly was disinvited by the palace for her wedding. You see how this works. Suddenly, it wasn't Meghan's fault. And where this gets even more interesting, in my opinion, is that, when you look at it and you think just how disrespectful was it at the time, look at it down through the lens a few years later. And she doesn't understand why the likes of Prince William, Catherine the Princess of Wales, etc. have such disregard and, more importantly, disrespect for her. literally snubbing the most famous woman on the planet. Even when the top cheeses at Condé Nast told her to rethink, she wasn't doing it. And then she wonders why they never invite her back. Neil Sean in the very heart of Yorkshire.